Good morning. I'm Reverend Lydia Janacek, and welcome to the Healing Light Fellowship Church. We are a spiritual church that teaches from spiritual principles and complies with the physical, mental, and spiritual laws of nature, which are the laws of God. This morning, I'm going to touch on our creativity and the special spiritual gifts we are given. What is creativity? It can be many things. According to the California State University, it is defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, possibilities that may be useful in communication, solving problems, or entertaining ourselves and others. The Bible states in many places how God designed us to be able to create. In the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1, it states, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Continue down to chapter 1, verse 26 in Genesis, and it states, "Is where you and I come into the creation equation. Then God said, 'Let us make mankind in our image according to our likeness.'" In other words, how he created, we can also create. In the book, The Life You Were Born to Live, by Dan Millman, it says, when working in the negative, creativity and confidence can represent a mountain for us to climb that we must hurdle over specific obstacles. In these areas, before our creative energy can manifest to reach its fullest potential, we allow ourselves to put the walls up so we won't even try sometimes. Often, due to insecurity or the need for approval from others. We can block our creativity by trying to control a situation or dwelling on something we can't seem to let go. It could be someone we're angry or frustrated with, or even a health issue that we don't have control over. So we block ourselves from creating good health, happiness, and joy. When creative energy is completely blocked, it causes inner turbulence in the form of physical health problems. When this happens, we have to create a place in our minds of peace and happiness and good health. We can't stay angry from a situation or keep going back and talking about it over and over again. We need to release it and let it go. The longer we go over it, the emotion of the anger or the health issue is at hand will just stay there. It will not dissipate, which puts us in a poor me attitude and blocks our creativity even farther. If we silence our inner critic that makes us feel inadequate, we would actually see how creative we all are. Because we use our creative side every single day. Think about your life. Each day we get up and we have a new canvas, a clean canvas in front of us. We can get up and think about yesterday, or the things we don't have, or the way things went sour. Or we can make today happy and fill the day with creative thoughts. We have created everything in our lives. You have heard this over and over from all of us that have been up here. Thoughts are things. We create the good and not so good. Why not take the canvas, turn it into beauty by trusting the process? Remember, words fuel your thoughts, which feeds our actions. When was the last time you really experienced the beauty God created and all the gifts He's given us? Just take a walk outside and look at the grass and the flowers. We have nothing but inspiration all around us. Take the time to listen and look. My grandmother used to love to sit on her back porch and look at the beauty of her backyard, full of dandelions. How many of us spray the dandelions to get rid of them, to kill those beautiful little flowers? She would pick some, or us grandkids would pick them for her. She would take and really, really look at them. And she would look and say, look, God made each one different. but perfect in every way. She saw the beauty in them. And if you've ever looked at a dandelion, there isn't a one that's the same. Think about this. Every one of us is like a dandelion that God created, different but perfect in our own way. Balance is the key to being creative. When we think about being creative, we think of painters, journalists, composers. We have to allow our minds to be open, to let our imaginations go where Spirit will take us. We're not all born to be famous artists or writers or musicians, but who's to say you can't take a class and learn to write or draw or sing? Our daughter, Samantha, loves to sing. When she was 3, she loved music. She danced to any tune, even if it was in her head. She would have us sit on the stairs and put on a concert for us at 3 years old. She started taking singing lessons in 6th or 7th grade. She was competing in high school, singing opera in 5 different languages. She only speaks English. She went to college where she had to audition to get in for her voice. She was born with the gift, but she perfected it with years of school, great teachers, and practice and more practice, with the intent to do her best and to perfect her gift. In the Bible, it states in Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7 through 11, to each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For to one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge, according to the same Spirit. To another faith by the same Spirit. To another gifts by healing by one Spirit. To another the working of miracles. To another prophecy. To another the ability to distinguish between spirits. To another various kinds of tongues. To another the interpretation of tongues. All these are empowered by one and the same Spirit, who apportions to each one individually as he wills. So, we all have different gifts, and to open them up, we have to be creative. When we can use our creative side with our imaginations, we open to a different world that we may not recognize, or could not even believe existed. We have to think about the old saying, think out of the box. We have all heard of that. Well, you can't do that if you don't allow yourself to listen to the creative being you are. How do we do this? By quieting our mind, going within by meditation, by slowing down and being in the moment. Sometimes that's hard to do in the world we live in today. But practicing with intent to do our best will get us there. Most of us don't even realize how many gifts we're given every single day. We live in America. That's a gift. We all have fresh water and food, a roof over our heads. We have a place to worship. I bet if you took a piece of paper and started to write down every gift and every blessing that we have gotten, you wouldn't have enough paper. I was blessed to take care of my parents and to spend the last part of their lives with them on a daily basis. That was truly a gift to me. I have a wonderful husband, 3 beautiful children, and I have 3 grandchildren that I love to the moon and back. When you start to see everything in your life as a gift, and those things are gifts, they don't belong to us. They're only gifts. Okay? When you start to see everything in your life as a gift, we start to appreciate that we have them. Even when things don't go the way we want them to, that's when the creative comes in And we have to check our thoughts to see did this happen. Did you create it? Yes, some things are not our creation. It could be something someone else created and you were affected by it. But you agreed to be in the lesson to learn something. How you react to that situation could be a lesson that you're given to see what you will create in that moment. For example, maybe someone steals something from you and you find out later who did it. And you are able to forgive them. You tell them that you forgive them, and maybe your kids see that you forgave them. You taught them a valuable lesson, yes, but you also gave the person the gift of forgiveness. And reacted in a kind way which makes your soul have progress. I have a close friend whose daughter had a baby. He was born with muscular atrophy, and it's one of the worst types that a baby could have. And of course, we're all praying for him, and a lot of you here are, and we appreciate that. And his parents, are praying for the best outcome, as we all are for him. Unfortunately, his outcome isn't going to be what any of us would want or wish for. He's a beautiful little soul. They are taking any time they have with him and are grateful for the gift of time with him, no matter how long that is. This baby may have a short life here, but he has picked wonderful parents that love him unconditionally, and so does everyone else in his life. The gift of family and friends have come flowing in. We don't always look at things like it's a gift. We look at our lessons most of the time as the difficult parts of our journey. But most of the lessons teach us things. When we learn from any lesson, that is a gift. Our gifts may be that we're born healers. You may have the gift to be the person that carries your family through hard times and emotionally. You're their rock. Or maybe your gift is being a great listener. Maybe you came here in this lifetime to be a problem solver or a protector. We all have a purpose, and we choose to come here to play it out. Some of us have special gifts that we're born with, and some of us have to work on developing them. When we allow ourselves to let go of control and surrender to the inner voice, things develop faster. That is when we allow ourselves to tap into our spiritual gifts, which God gives us all. Let yourself be creative and see the possibility of the unknown. Accept the gifts that you're all able to have by being open to the possibility to seeing, hearing, sensing, and to accept what some people think doesn't exist. But with the human creativity and with spirit, anything can be a reality. We have to be creative and dream. We have to have the right intent to learn and serve. When we have that, then our spiritual journey has begun. We need to remember nothing and no one rises to get closer to enlightenment unless we bring God into our lives. This only happens with God. When we turn to God, our gifts will develop in a way we never imagined. If we learn to trust, what seemed to be a struggle then becomes an easy task. Then a pathway opens up to discover who you are and what you can become. It takes discipline and constant spiritual practice. You have to make a commitment to your guides and to yourself to do the work to develop whatever gift you're trying to work on. You have to surrender over and over and over again to create the connection to the divine energy. When doing this, we live a more peaceful life. We create harmony and love. We feel in our life. We discover the happiness in our lives. Some of us have the ability to tap in and listen to our inner voice easier than others. But we all are creative beings in some form spiritually in our own journey. Never, ever compare yourself to another. Remember, we will all get to where we're headed when we're supposed to. And we all have different gifts. There are so many lessons to learn on the way to wherever it is you're going. We're all here trying to find our purpose. And doing so, we have to trust our intuition so we can allow our imagination to become creative, to open to our source. When we allow ourselves to express our inner creativity, we surrender the thoughts or the illusions of control and are open to some unique gifts. Those of us that use the right side of the brain tap in easier to creativity and accept things faster. When we're using the left side, you're more logical and have an analytical, skeptical view of life. That's not to say that they can't have an imagination. It's just that they're always questioning, and it's harder for them to give up control. When we're doing this, we get in our own way. Understand that if we stay locked into our own minds, it's like we're shutting off a whole world. When we open our mind to our creativity and our imagination, we are opening to the wisdom of spirit. We all have the power within us to open our hearts and connect to our spiritual side. We will feel, sense, and live peace, happiness, and unconditional love from God. We need to just let go, trust, and have faith in what we hear, sense, and feel. Think about it. We have a very giving God. In the Bible, verse after verse is about the gifts God has given us. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, he gives us the breath in our lungs. In Psalm chapter 68, verse 6, he gives us family. In the book James chapter 1, verse 5, he gives us wisdom. In the book Corinthians chapter 1, verse 30, he gives us freedom. In the book of John chapter 14, verse 27, he gave us peace. There are so many other verses in the Bible. I could go on and on. And they're all about spiritual gifts that God gives each and every one of us. Do we honor them, or do we not use them to our full potential? We need to realize God has given us all different gifts for doing certain things. So if God has given you the ability to be serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to be encouraging others, be encouraging. If it is giving you generously, or if it's giving, give generously. We receive gifts from God as an act of love to us. But know that if you abuse them, Spirit will take our gifts away as fast as we got them. So always use your gifts to create love and balance in your life. Use them to help and serve. Thank you for giving me this time today. God bless you all.